Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Kimberly from Fitchburg Star. Kimberly, how are you today?
I'm doing good, although I miss Jeremy's opening of the Star Reporter. I hate it, but I realize I miss it now. So
I know, sorry, I don't give the same pizzazz as Jeremy does. I fill in when I have to, and I say as little as I have to as well. So, but never, we always love having you on and always have good updates here. And today we're going to talk about a little more than just the Common Council update from this week. And we're going to start with police chief update that you have.
yeah, so the police chief recruitment process is in full swing, and so with the police and fire commission have narrowed it down to two people that they are looking at further background for. Those two people are Alfonso Morales and then Vic. I am really sorry, I'm going to do my best here. Vic Sibenek. Those two were selected out of four that were present at a public forum last week. So those two are likely going to be the ones that they'll pull the final finalists from, who will be the next city of Fitchburg police chief. But for now, that's those are their two finalists that have been moved on. They're still accepting comments and feedback. So if you'd like to give feedback to the police and fire commission, that is welcomed. I'm hoping you'll put a lower third here, telling people how to do that, because I don't know that off the top of my head. But they are still accepting feedback and giving the police and fire commission feedback based on the forum or just other thoughts is very valuable to being engaged in the government process. So and then it looks like they have a meeting on August 18th where they could decide a finalist. That agenda is not out yet, so I don't want to make assumptions, but that is the earliest it could happen. So keep your eyes peeled for updates on that. Well, the Fitchburg Star will have them. We'll be watching.
Yeah, and we'll keep everyone up to date as well. But yes, please, if you have comments, comment into the Police and Fire Commission, because they are looking for public input as much as possible here during this. Next, we have one thing from the Common Council update, which was they got an inclusive playground design for McKee Farms Park.
Yeah, so they approved that design. There's still more work to do with figuring out materials and building, but they at least needed to approve a design so that they knew what materials you need based on the weight of the inclusive playground. When the inclusive playground is built, it'll be built at McKee Farms Park right next to the splash pad. When it is built, it'll be Dane County's third inclusive playground, if my research is correct. So you've already got McKee Farms Park kind of as that crown jewel of the city, and they're just adding one more amenity to boost it a little bit. So that'll be coming down the road here soon, and they approved a design that includes swings and ramps, all that kind of fun stuff after it went through Park Commission and they got feedback on that. So
Awesome, that sounds good. And like you said, kind of the jewel park of Fitchburg, and it's just getting better, so it's nothing wrong with that. It's the more of a destination for everyone. And last we're going to talk about here is the COVID-19 protocols for all three school districts within Fitchburg.
Yeah, so this is not Common Council related, but so as of this week, we now know what students and staff at all three of Fitchburg school districts, Madison Metropolitan, Verona area, and Oregon school districts will be required. If you've got a K-12 kiddo and you live in Fitchburg and you are sending them to the public school system, they're going to need to wear a mask. All three districts have implemented universal masking. What's really driving that decision is not only guidance from the American Academy of Pediatrics and the Federal Centers for Disease and Prevention, but it's also being driven by Public Health Madison-Dane County, and not necessarily a requirement to wear masks, but a requirement that would be in place if you chose not to do universal masking. So if everyone in the building is universally masked, regardless of vaccination status, so that includes students, teachers, any visitors, and any other staff, whether it's custodial staff, food staff, if everyone is universally masked, then someone who tests positive for COVID-19, anyone who is a close contact of them, so say, a student tests positive in a classroom, the student sitting next to them, as long as they are masked and everyone else in the room is masked, they then do not have to quarantine. Those quarantine regulations are lifted. If you don't have universal masking, Public Health Madison-Dane County will require school districts to quarantine students. And so you've got all 3 school districts trying to bring students back 5 days in person. And so the entire goal of the mask is trying to reduce disruptions for learning. So if they want to keep students in 5 days a week, they're going to actually want to be able to keep those students in 5 days a week. And doing that by reducing the amount of quarantine time. So just an example from Verona, they had, throughout the time that you had kids in school, at least hybrid part-time, they had about 65 kids test positive for COVID-19. They had 23 staff members test positive. But in that time, they had about a third of their students and teachers be quarantined. And so that's what they're trying to avoid, all 3 of these districts. They want to make sure kids can stay in school, and they're going to try to do that with universal masking. So.
Well, that's quite the update. But at least, like you said, at least everyone in Fitchburg knows wherever you go, it's the same rules between all 3 school districts, which is nice, not to have 3 different rules.
Correct.
And yeah, that would be a little bit of a mess.
There are a little bit of differences. So every school has like a COVID-19 mitigation plan. So between the schools, with how much they clean or their ventilation systems, there's differences there. So not everyone is exactly the same, but at least all of that masking is universal for all 3 districts.
Yeah, that's the same in all of them. So
and
that's a big thing for most people is, do I have to or do I not? And now yes, you do. So no matter what like you said, no matter what your vaccination status is. So
that's correct.
Perfect. Well, that's some really good information today, and kind of all, different topics all over the place, but Fitchburg always moving forward in different ways, and with COVID and school coming up. So it's good to get all of that information out before school starts, which is very soon.
Absolutely.
And so, yes. So, well, Kimberly, thank you very much for joining me today. And we'll see you in a few weeks with the next council update.
We'll do. I'll probably talk a little bit more council next time, just to be fair to the council.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds great. All right.
Always nice to talk to you.
Yep, you as well. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Talking Fitchburg.